Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. What? Wait a minute. Are we live yet? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Unusual Favor podcast show. I am your host, John Hansboro, my lovely wife, Shalanda. It's brought to you by Lady J Butterfly Entertainment. What up, Baltimore Online Radio? All right, we have a special show tonight. We got some beautiful black faces on the screen, as you see. The topic for this show tonight is, what does marriage mean to you? So, without further ado, we have in the top, my left-hand corner, we have Mr. Darryl and Kendell, who is a wonderful couple. Actually, this is not defined as a power couple to me. Mr. Darryl is a mentor, and Miss Kendell does a number of things, and they work together so well. It's really good to see. I love that vibe. We have Miss Joyce Butler, who is also a host on the Joy B show that comes on Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock. You sure to check that out. And then we have our girl, Miss Van Green, down there. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. So what we going to
We're good.
Oh, that mic's with me. Okay.
You can't
How's
hardly
that?
hear. We
Can you
can't
hear
hardly hear you, John. It sounds like you're underwater a little bit. You couldn't hear anything.
Oh, wow.
Wow, turn that off for me. Can you hear me at all now?
It's better, yes.
It's better now.
Okay.
So we didn't hear
All right.
anything that you were saying. It was hard. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry about that. It's this technology and all this Wi-Fi mess in my house is crazy. Right. Yeah, but I'll just start off. Like I said, this is the Unusual Favor show. I'm your host, John Hansboro. This is my lovely wife, Shalanda. We have the lovely couple, Darryl and Kendell, in our top left corner there. We have Miss Joyce Butler, who is a co-host. Is a host of her own show on What Up Baltimore Online Radio, the Joy B Show. You can check that out Tuesdays at 6 p.m. And we have my sister, Miss Van Green, down there. How you doing this evening, Van? The topic for tonight is, what does marriage mean to you? I actually saw a video that Kendell and Darryl were doing. I want to know where y'all were waiting to get food from too. They were sitting in their car ordering some food.
My mama's vegan. My mama's vegan.
My mom was vegan. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
It was good. You saw me.
No, it was good. And you guys were talking about, how marriage, some people think that marriage is just a piece of paper, and that just struck a nerve with me and wanted me to have you guys come on the show tonight. And like I said, what does marriage mean to everyone? Marriage means something different to everybody. So I just wanted to get everyone's perspective. People who are married, people who are not married, divorced, whatever, But we're going to start with Darryl and Kendell. What does marriage mean to you guys? And then we're going to go around the table and get a perspective from everybody.
So I noticed it online that somebody had that reference that marriage was just a piece of paper. That was concerning to me. And me and my wife started discussing it, probably what you saw. And then we kind of went into it. So marriage is a commitment. Marriage is a spiritual covenant before God with you and that mate that he chooses for you. And it is a commitment. It is patience. It is endurance. It is love. It is purpose. It is a mission together, not just for the sake of happiness alone, but it is more purpose-driven, vision-driven, kingdom-minded as well. And so, biblically speaking, it is a spiritual covenant or a promise before God and man with that partner that hopefully he chooses for you and that you allow him to choose for you so that you can have the best outcome that is possible for you to, in accordance with your purpose of why you were born and that person's purpose of why they were born together in alignment with what his will is for you.
That's
wow.
Good.
That's very good. That's deep though. It's very good. It really is.
And I'll make it quite simple. Love is a spiritual covenant contract. right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with any contract, you're going to think twice before you break your contract. You're going to think twice before you renegotiate your contract. You're going to think twice before you even sign on the dotted line of your contract. It's a spiritual covenant connection contract. So all the C's. So contract, what did I say? Covenant
Covenant.
and commitment. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So when you think about marriage, and then you have that person that you can do life with, marriage is a mirror of who you are and who you, I don't want to say should be, who God calls you to be. And that person, like no other person, can show you different sides of who you are if you have the right partner to help you grow. And that's what you should do. It's an even exchange of love, commitment, honesty, and a mission.
Yeah.
I even tell you had your definition time. This is my time.
Absolutely. I would also.
Definition. He had his own definition, and now he add to my definition.
I like that. I like the C's that you were using, and I would also actually add communication too, because that's very important in a marriage. You know, we've been married now for 13 years, and we're still learning things every day, every year. You know, it's something that, like you say, is a lifelong task that you have to be committed to do together. You know, and when you both commit to it together, it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. Miss Joyce, I wanted to get your perspective on that. What do you think about marriage, and what does it mean to you?
Okay, so I'm divorced, but I was married for 17 years. I married the wrong person. But marriage to me, and I do plan on getting married again. Marriage is a ministry. It is when two people give up, like I'm over here, I'm right here, I this, I that. They give that up for we. And then, it is definitely a ministry, because if you don't operate in that mode, you're not going to have a marriage. And I definitely know that's what happened to me.
But also, you have to understand too, Joyce, that we're divorced too, but we're remarried to each other. So we understand that too. Yeah.
You guys got divorced, and then
no, not us. Divorce other people.
right. Exactly. Yeah.
They have a wonderful story. My sister Van down there. What do you think about marriage, and what does it mean to you, sis? I know you're married.
I've been with my husband for 22 years now. We've been married 17 years. And so this is my second marriage. So I took something from my first marriage, because we stayed together for 7 years. But it was out of control. We got married when we was young. But the way that I was raised, it was always to know what my standards was. But I'm real big on communicating and that connection. So things that he showed me and we showed each other. And when we went to go get counseling together, and I was more interested in show me something that I'm not doing that we need to do. And so the bond of friendship was there. My thing is, if you're not friends first in your marriage and you just get right into it, or just because, it doesn't work if you being a couple. Because my second marriage, I could have met him long time ago. This is his first, but I knew him for years. But you don't really know each other until you get to know each other, even though you know each other as friends. Because a lot of times people say, you don't really know me because I don't really know myself. And a lot of things that I am doing now, I learn myself every day. I learn something different about myself. And so a lot of times with my husband now is when him and I talk, we come to a disagreement to agree. I didn't understand that at first. He's much older than me. Some things that he says that we need to try this, and then we'll try it. I had a problem with going out, for instance, with him in a club, because it was like, you know what? Well, what if? And I had to break those habits. So when we went out and we tried it, we danced. He said, you know what? Go ahead. You can dance with somebody else. We are friends. We met as friends. But at this time, we're married. And so, and when I tried it, it was like, okay, now I see what the respect is when he says that, we have to teach. You have to teach me as I teach you, and then we get it together. And this is what the marriage counselor, was saying. You don't have to, you can know somebody, but don't learn them. Meaning you don't have to go there because you think that every eye is bedroom eyes and every lip is down a room, So I was like, what does that mean? What are you saying? You have bedroom eyes and down a room lips. What does that mean?
I'm glad you brought up the counselor part, because a lot of us feel as though that getting help is a sign of like weakness, or they may be embarrassed to do it or something like that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I wanted to say something about that, because listening to you and then listening to what you're saying about the embarrassment, my thing is, and even as a life coach, as a woman, as whatever, if you're dating and you're in a relationship and that wife or wife to be hasn't gone through counseling or therapy, or that husband to be hasn't gone through counseling, coaching, therapy, then you two don't need to be in a relationship, let alone marriage. I think that everyone should do their self-work prior to getting into a relationship. So if you're dating, don't be afraid to ask, have you gone to therapy? Have you had counseling or coaching? Because you want to make sure that person is doing the work on themselves. If they're like, I don't need no therapy, I don't need no coaching, one. Because everyone has past traumas, past baggage, past issues that need to be healed before you enter a relationship. If both parties haven't done it separately, then it really makes no sense to do it together until you've both done it separately, because you have to be 100 here and 100 here to make that whole relationship. It's not about who completes me. That's garbage that we have to stop spreading. She completes me. She makes me whole. That's garbage. You have to be whole and stand on your own first. Then you enter a relationship, and that way that relationship can be as healthy as possible. Then you seek couples counseling or therapy or coaching, something to continuously move your marriage forward.
Now, couples counseling and coaching and things of that nature, I definitely agree with you. What do you say? What do you guys think about getting that type of advice from family members who may be members of churches and different things like that? Do you think there's a bit of biasness that will be going on if you're talking with them instead of a perfect stranger who knows neither one of you or your mate? You know what I mean? I think that would be something that will help you to grow in your marriage, so you can see exactly what things you should work on and not work on, versus someone telling you things that's just kind of a bit biased. What do you guys think about that? Go ahead, Darryl. Actually,
it should definitely be, first of all, it should be from somebody that you respect, somebody that you trust, and it should be from somebody that has been successful in the thing that you are asking them about or that they're telling you about. You're not going to ask for financial literacy advice from somebody who's poor. You're going to ask for that advice. You're going to ask for that advice from somebody who is successful to know about finance. So in the same way, you would try to find or look for somebody who has been successful in a long-term marriage, who knows the ins and outs, that you can quote unquote study from and be quote unquote mentored by to some degree. Because without having some type of fathering or mothering or group or parents or marital situation that is something that you can see have been successful, I would ask somebody who's had not very good success in a particular area that I'm searching out.
See, I would, and I think that to piggyback off what you said, I honestly think that you should not go to family members. You should use the people who are married, like Darryl said. I think that you should use them as mentors, but I don't think you should go to them for issues, problems, and concerns, because it gets sticky that way when you're putting everybody in your business and in your marriage. Because when you heal the situations, the other person's still going to be looking at them at the cookout like this.
Absolutely.
Because they know what you did. So I don't think that you should go to any, I don't care if they've been married 60 years. Don't go to them for marital advice. Use them as mentors, but go seek help from a life coach. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a life coach, but a life coach, a counselor, or a therapist, someone, a non-biased opinion where you don't feel like slighted. The husband doesn't feel like, well, she's on your side, or the wife doesn't say, well, he's on your side. Have somebody who is non-biased come in and evaluate your relationship based off of what you're saying, where you begin to feel comfortable, because you're not going to feel comfortable right away, right? Because it is a stranger. But the more they have the facts and the information, then you'll feel comfortable sharing. And you have to be honest, and you have to share the truth and the hard truth. So when they're talking to you, you have a solid, because if we sit there for 30 minutes and say, we good, then how are we going to grow? And how you go? What y'all got to say? Nothing. We fine. We perfect. That's not going to help. You have to air out, and that's the best place to air the dirty laundry. Yes, you can talk to your friends with certain things, but certain things you want to make sure you don't get advice from them, because if they're riding for you, he might be bad. If they're riding for him, she might be bad. You know what I mean? But definitely have marriages that you can look at and admire and have them as mentorships, but don't share your personal business about your spouse with them, because no matter how much time goes past, they're going to remember the time. Like Michael Jackson, remember the time. They're going to remember the time.
You're so right, though. You're absolutely right. I'm a big advocate in, keeping my business in house as much as I can. You know what I mean? Because it can spiral out of control. And I understand how it can too, though. That's the thing. Like, family members love you and things of that nature. So I understand how things can get out of control. That's why it's best sometimes to just keep that separate, from things of that nature. A lot of what would you guys say to some young couples? I know a lot of young couples who got married young. And it didn't work out. And then some who got married young are still married to this day, 20 years later, they got married in their 20s and they're 40, 50 years old and they're still married. I think that personally, a lot of how we are brought up, I think plays a factor sometimes in choosing a mate and being in a relationship. My parents were together for over 40 years. My wife's parents were over 56, at least 55 years. So I feel like when you're in a situation and you have issues, sometimes without you even knowing that, it's like something that just comes in instantly to help, for you and your situation at that time, based on what you may have seen or experienced in your childhood with your own family or your own parents. Like, I wanted my relationship with my wife to be something from what I saw from my parents. I saw the love from my parents constantly. It was me and my brother in the house with them, but it was always, they were hugging on each other. He'd be in the kitchen cooking. There was always laughter and stuff. There were some times where it wasn't laughter, but it was more love than anything. So what would you guys say to that?
So it sounds. Go ahead.
John, I wanted to answer your first question as well.
Go ahead.
I would never, ever put my family in my business, especially marriage business, because they're going to say some things. It's always going to be towards the man, something so negative, to say, why is she still with them? Let's say that a man did something that any other man would do. And so when they find out that because we're married and he done something, they say, why is she still with him? And then we be the talk of the town. But in marriages, you go through the bad and the good. You have disagreements. We have arguments. not fights, because I don't want to be in a marriage that I'm fighting and it becomes abuse, because mental is worse than being abused. And so if you don't grow together, your marriage will fail. As couple, you have to be an understanding couple. You have to find the inside and the outside of a person. Even if a person has went through something more, one of the partners has went through something worse, and you accept it. When you get with a couple together, marriage, you accept everything that comes with it. And so if you're not ready before then, I think that, like me and my husband, we went to counseling. So when I divorced my first husband, I was already in counseling. And so when I told him, I was a little shy and a little confused and had doubts, he's not going to stay. And I'm really beating myself up about that. So when I shared it with him, I was surprised because he came to therapy with me. And so he sat there. My therapy had nothing to do with him. But when I brought him along with me, I want to say the whole month visit, he then said, hey, this is what I need. And this is what happened to me. And that's how we became so strong and more so understanding. So it's like no hiding nothing from each other. We bring it to the table and we sit down and we talk. My husband had issues in his life that before me. And so I helped him, and we all got to, head out. Him and I had, at first it was rocky because we were hiding things from each other. So when you say communication, of all of us on here said the one thing, communicating, and the one thing I do not like that couples do, they bring up the past with the ex and what she said, or the baby mother. You might have a understanding with the a friendship when you having a kid or children by another woman, but you and your spouse are together, and because they have friends, you want to allow your husband to still be friends with the children's mother, despite all of what happened between them two. But relationships go rocky, marriages go rocky when the outside of friendships and other people come a part of your relationship.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that, man. I definitely agree with you on that. I wanted to get my wonderful wife's perspective on what she thinks marriage means to her, actually.
She's sitting back there looking like a queen.
Come on, Queen Songbird.
I'm sorry, y'all. Queen's tired. I'm with y'all. I'm just listening. Okay, so the question was, what does marriage mean to me? I believe marriage is a union between two people. And I don't believe there's no cookie cut of how a marriage is supposed to be. I think it's an agreement between those two people, how they want their relationship to be. If it's a friendship-based relationship, if some people have an agreement relationship, it's not about building an empire. It's just whatever it is. But whatever it is, it's between those two people. Mm-hmm. That's what I believe.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I definitely agree on that.
I'm live on TikTok too, listening, and someone said, I learned to not trust outsiders because it started a lot of trouble for me.
Absolutely. I can see where that because you never know what their intention is on the advice that they're giving you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's definitely me and my wife have learned actually to just communicate as much as possible. I think with us, we both do therapy together and individually. Mm-hmm. So that helps us out a lot in dealing with just about any situations that we deal with. There are times where we could be having a discussion and it could be getting to a point where it may get a little weird. So we like, you know what? We're going to bring this up in front of Cynthia. How about we just wait until we talk to Cynthia? Let's put a pin in this right now, and we'll bring this up with a third party. You know what I mean?
I'd be like, ooh, let me break this down. So
I agree with that also.
because
Yeah.
Especially if you have a big family.
yes, exactly. But you were going to say when you asked about marriage and if your upbringing had something to do with how you look at marriage, and you wanted
So
to go with that.
it sounds like from what he was saying is that you guys have a portrait or a generational blessing of how marriage looks.
Right.
Now, for me, I had that through my grandparents. My mother was a single parent mother who chose to be single as unto the Lord in her walk after she had her children. So for what I missed in not having the marital visual look of what it looks like, I desire that for myself to set. In other words, I was the one to set the standard for my children's children going forward, or how it would look. And so that was important for me. In anytime you have an absence of something, in a lot of cases, depending on your perspective, you want to be the thing that you went without.
Right. Yeah.
So because I didn't have a father in my life, I knew that I was going to be a great father. I was going to make it my mission to be a great father. And because I needed to demonstrate what wasn't demonstrated for me, I needed to become the subject of the demonstration. And with even in looking at my grandparents who were married probably 50 some odd years, that was a great look at what marriage should be. But like your wife said, it was that cookie cutter straight, the
like
way
this is marriage.
Yeah.
This is the definition, and that's it.
I agree with your wife so much that you have to do what's best for you and your spouse in your union, not just what you saw in other unions that seem to work. Though you can eat the meat and throw away the bone, what applies to you, but you have to start your own path, your own trailblazing path in regard to what works, because there are a multitude of ways to get to the end result so you can win.
Yes. And you have to be in that with marriage, just like if I'm coaching someone who's an entrepreneur, right, and you want to start their business, I'm going to ask them, well, what is your mission statement? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to conquer within your business? What do you want to do? What are you saying about your business through you and what you're doing? And the same way, if I'm coaching a couple, I'm going to say the same thing. What is your mission statement? Because it can't be just to love, and I love him and he loved me. Murray, Murray, whatever we get Murray, and all of that. It has to be a mission in there. Do you have this mission? What do you want to do with your marriage? What do you want to show yourself, God, and people about your marriage? And I believe in real relationships, not relationships. We say real relationships because we believe in giving the real and being honest, because we want to debunk what we see on social media, and people are trying to strive to have these relationship goals and these perfect relationships. And then when they're in their relationship, they're slamming cabinets because they're ungrateful about their relationship because it don't look like on social media, right? So it's like, no, like you can say, like, he got on my nerves yesterday, or she got on my nerves today. Like, that's really what it should be, because I don't want to show this perfect image of a relationship. It's not always perfect, but you do people a disservice when you're online and you're showing them all the good parts,
all the glitter,
and that's when people strive to be. And then when they're not in it, like I said, they're ungrateful and got an attitude because they're not showing in their relationship what they see. But I believe in your family of origin, how you were raised. It does say a lot about marriage. I never even thought about it, to be honest. My parents were divorced, and I saw them separately and together, and they were almost like best friends. So I guess I have a different one. They got along. And even when I got divorced, my ex-husband was like my best friend. So I thought of that years later, that we almost emulated that. So I did do what I saw. Like, I didn't see the hate or the animosity. Like, our families were still together and cool. So then with my ex-husband, when he got remarried, I would have I would do her hair and do stuff like that. I didn't, it wasn't, and people would be like, well, what is this? And when you said that, I'm thinking about it right now as you asked that question. So I didn't see an image of marriage per se in my house. Now I had my grandparents, I had my aunts and uncles. They were all married like 60 something years. So I saw that there. But within my house, I saw family even with that. So I guess that's what I emulated. And I just thought about that just now.
And to add on to that real quick, you want somebody who's with you in the valley.
Yes.
On the mountaintop.
Right.
It's easy to get somebody, or you to find somebody when you're on high and you're on the mountain, everything good and everything glittering and gold. But there will be a valley experience time that comes. And if you want to find out who's in your corner, it's when you're in the valley. When you're in the valley and you're going through financial, you're going through emotional, you're going through the merging process, you're going through what I call the purity or the purge.
We're going through all
process.
of that. We're going through all of that.
It's that purging process when the heat is applied, that fervent heat is applied to any diamond. You come forth when you're being purged and purified of all the impurities. Then you have a pure diamond at the end of that. But it's also the process. You got to embrace the process. You don't have to like the process. You have to embrace the process. Be aware that the process in its painful state, in the disliking of each other's state or moments.
Yes, right.
You got to understand that, it is marriage is a selfless thing, a union, selfless. Not me, I, what I think, I, me. It is, again, the valley. If you meet them in the valley and they with you in that valley, they may deserve to be with you on the mountaintop.
May?
You know what I'm saying? Okay. Depending. But yeah, that's and I don't want people to think that, you get with something, you get with a man for this, you get with a woman for that, and there's never going to be, money does not root out pain, problems.
Yeah.
The rain falls on the just and the unjust.
Yeah.
True.
The sun shines on the blessed and the not blessed, the poor and the wealthy. So don't think because you get in a marriage that, he's gonna ride in on a white horse and save me from all my credit woes.
Yeah.
No. You should be whole.
Or she.
Exactly. That's right.
Getting yourself together, walking as if you are already a married woman or married man, which means abstaining, if you need to, abstaining from the sexual acts prior to becoming a wife or husband, because there is no way in the world you are going to get a piece of paper and assume that all my cheating habits from old are going to all of a sudden evaporate. It may happen for a minute, but trust you me, it's going to come up, and those same practice habits will resurface themselves, and now you're going to be a cheating husband or wife in adultery.
Yeah, because he was abstinent when he was abstinent. You were talking about that.
Yeah, I was abstinent from my first divorce. I had to get cleaned out. I had to get my mind clean. I had to get my body clean. I had to get cleansed out from all the residue of the past.
Right.
So I was for 4 years. I was celibate for 4 years prior to meeting my wife. And then she didn't come to find out along how we met. She had been celibate for a few years prior to that. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Preparation, not getting ready for the blessing that you're praying about, being ready when the blessing comes your way. Because if you got all of these, what I call safety net women or safety net men, right? But you in a relationship, but you got safety nets just in case you're not ready.
Yeah.
If you taking breaks in a regular relationship and you're like, well, we broke up now for a week or two.
People say they're taking a break.
Yeah, we're taking a break. I can go mess with him and mess with her. You're not ready. Because if you're not working it out in the relationship that you're currently in, you definitely will take those same practices and habits over into your marriage.
And also, too, when you think about that, and you said that in a relationship, you got to be ready if you pray for a husband and wife. sometimes because I honestly I wasn't praying for it. I've been there, done that, and then I was engaged prior to my husband. So I wasn't even really praying for it. But you got to be ready when God gives you what he wants you to have and what you're supposed to have. And that's what people don't understand either, because God knows what you need or who you need and when you need it. So even if you think, because I wasn't looking for a husband, I wasn't planning on, not to say I would have never gotten married again, but I wasn't looking for it. That's not something that I was on the top of my list. And or you know what I'm saying? So I dropped that on both of us. Like that's not something we were praying for. You know, I know a lady that's right now, she changing her religion for real to get a husband.
Wow.
So she went from atheist to now a religion that she's studying now, and she said out of her mouth to have a husband. So whatever, you know, and that's not even a judgment. It's whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just proud that she's not an atheist anymore.
Yeah.
So whatever it takes and however God is using you, you know, you have to be able to hear from God and be able to cleanse out also, so you can hear when God speaks to you. Because if you got all kind of stuff or people running in and out, you know, it ain't no room for your husband and wife to come because the room is crowded. There's too many people in the room. So you got to make sure that you're preparing yourself for just the best self that you can be. And if that best self is there, because you don't never know when you are your best self, right? And you're working on yourself and you're doing the things you need to do for yourself, you have no clue. It might just not be a husband or wife. It could be a job. It could be a career. It could be a new car. It could be a new house. It could be beautiful friends walking in. But you have to be right before they come in. Because if you're not right when they come in, you're going to lose friends. You're going to lose jobs. You're going to, you know, your car going to break down. You ain't going to have the money to get it fixed. You don't need a new car. And the thing is, people pray for things like, say, for instance, people pray for a new car, right? Why would God give you a new car and you ain't even taking care of the car you have? Every time you get a car, you like, I'm sick of this car. This car
don't change the oil, don't do nothing to it.
Don't do nothing. So God ain't gonna bless you.
Or you're not willing to help nobody. You're not willing to take nobody nowhere. You're not willing to pick nobody up. You know, so what are you gonna do?
Right. So God ain't gonna give you something if you're not even taking care of what you have. And I can't stand this house, but your stove ain't been cleaned in 6 months. So you want a new house, but you ain't even taking care of that.
Absolutely. You know, Darryl brought up something that I wanted to mention too really quick about you know, making yourself ready for that mate that you're seeking, right? I see so many of my sisters, brothers too, but mainly it's a lot of my sisters, and I feel like that they are looking for a man like versus, you know, on social media. Like they're presenting themselves on social media. You know, I can cook, I can do this, my body looks like this. Come on here, husband, where you at? Like I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Miss Joyce, you like to say something about that?
Yes, I definitely
raised her hand
about that. As far as that, first of all, I love social media. I'm only on Facebook. I've been on there probably about 4 months, and it's for the radio show. But immediately, all these guys coming at me. How old are you? This, that, the other. And I'm like, first of all, I am not interested in dating anybody that I would, you know, possibly meet on social media. Not interested in that. Not interested in any dating sites or anything like that. Right now, I'm dating myself. And we'll work on, you know, and I wanted to say something about that financial piece also. When I was married, my ex-husband would say, okay, Joy, you should pay the bulk of the bills because you make the most money. I'm like, sir, you have really, really got this thing twisted in your mind. First of all, we were not equal financially. Okay. And I understood that, but it's not how much you make, it's what you do with those finances. And I just wanted to say that. Absolutely.
That's so good.
That's good.
Absolutely true. You know, and in today's society too, there's a lot of relationships where the woman is the sole provider, or she may make more money than the husband. I wouldn't mind. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it comes to that. One thing about me and my wife, we never had an issue when it comes to finances ever.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
we just never had that type of issue. We've come across other issues, but for some reason, finances wasn't something that we had a big issue with.
That's
But
a
I think that
blessing.
that's something that needs to be um, talked about with people who are looking to get married, because
Mhm.
right
Right.
now with this stimulus thing, people are killing their mates
Yeah, I heard
over
about that.
Over 14.
$1,000.
Stimulus checks. Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard about that. Yeah. Yeah.
taking out the whole family over a couple $1,000.
Yeah,
Like
I heard that same story. Yeah. Yeah.
it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask Darryl and Lanice, because and Kendell, I'm sorry. I've been following you guys and watching what you do on social media the last couple of days. I wanted to ask you guys, what would you say to a couple who is sort of similar to, both of you guys got a lot going on individually and you got a lot going on together, right? So a lot of times in relationships, it can come up to be a competition type of thing.
Mhm.
With the man and the woman, sometimes I think it's ridiculous, but I have seen it.
Yeah.
I have seen it. And I also, also on what it's like to support your mate on what they're doing when you also have something going on as well. What do you guys say to that?
So like you said, we both do have a lot going on individually. My business and things that I do, my public speaking, and she does the same. I think one thing is that this goes back to having those communications and conversations in therapy or just one-on-one or pillow talk, whatever you want to call it, prior to becoming married. Your purpose, your mission, your union should align. You should in some ways have like-minded heart for whatever your purpose is, right? And I didn't even know when I met her, I didn't know what she did. I had no clue about her past, none of that. And I didn't want to know.
And
But
as he was finding out,
I was
like,
finding
what?
out, it was like, man, this was really God that set this up for real.
Right.
But I think a lot of times I'm steady in our relationship, so to speak, right? And there's times where she may be Oprah, but she may be the Oprah / Stedman at a time where she's supporting, because together all the things that we do are still under the umbrella of our marriage and of our business. So there is no, oh, you doing this, you doing that, because I want for her, I love her and I'm in love with her so much. I want for her to be the best she can be and have what she wants, even if that was without me. That's what love is. Love is without or love is with. And I support her, whether I'm in the background doing stuff in the background, I may be doing the lighting, I may be doing some other directorial type of things or whatever it is. But for couples that are looking to be married, you really must know and have these conversations about purpose, vision. What do you see us? I mean, for me, any woman that's dealing with a man and he can't tell him where do you see? Give him an interview like you do at a job.
Right.
Give them an interview. You don't, when you meet somebody, you don't automatically get a phone interview automatically, right? So you have to put them through that interview. Where do you see us in the next 3 to 5 years? And what are your goals for us? What is your goal for me as the wife or the husband, whichever it is? That's what it should be. And because we don't do, or people aren't, they're so fast now. Everything is microwave now. Everything is not patience and taking your time. Like you was talking about social media, and I was telling my wife the other day, I'm scrolling. Every time I'm scrolling, I see a woman on there half naked or turn to the side, making sure you can see their body and all that.
Right.
Be careful of what you're selling. Don't get mad if somebody wants to treat you like what you are presenting yourself as.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right? Because you're selling that.
That's
right. If you're selling that, you can't expect for somebody to come in and treat you like a wife if you're selling the wrong image or the wrong imagery.
And then to the question, I think the question was, how do we not get jealous one another or how we're not working together. Yeah, I've been doing this thing for many, many years, even before my husband. I've been speaking, coaching, author, doing all of this stuff. And like my husband said, he didn't even know all of the stuff that I was doing and all the stuff that I've achieved and accomplished. He had no clue. But it's so funny because I remember when he started to find out, he was like, wait, that's your book? Or that's your, I remember because I didn't say anything. So he started seeing little by little. And I remember, do you remember the first speaking engagement you went to with me? And he didn't know. Remember you were carrying a bag and we did the video? Yeah, so he didn't even know. So I was just like, I have to just speak at this thing. So he came, and I say all that to say he just fell right in line. He was grabbing the bag. He was doing this. He was doing like it just fell into place. Even when I created my talk show, remember you were just like we were setting it up. We were trying because we were just doing it by ourselves, and he was up there setting it. And it just, I didn't have to ask him. It just flew in, and then he just kind of fell together. So he just came in and started supporting what I did. And then our mission, and even in our vows, this was in our vows to help and affect people through our relationship, to really minister to other couples as well as ourselves. And then even with my husband, he had gotten off of social media for years and he wasn't. So he's just getting back on. So even now I'm like, you got something to say. He got the mandate coming, like his show. I was like, you need to get on there. Come on, you need to do the, and not for my benefit, but because I know the power of his voice and what he does, what I mean, can affect. And you need to see Black men that way. So I was like, come on, I'll produce the show. Come on, we're doing it. You know what I mean?
Like, you didn't know I was already doing my autobiography. Well,
I do know that. Oh, I didn't know when we met. Yeah, when we met, he was.
Yeah, and she encouraged me in a lot of different ways to how to do it, and it just fell together cohesively. It just fell together. So we definitely need to have that conversation.
Because he's writing an autobiography, y'all. And that autobiography gonna make you gonna be like.
Yeah, it's a cross between Pursuit of Happiness, Enemy of the State, New Jack City.
Wow.
What's the one with Scarface?
It's a lot.
Wow.
I had to grab snacks. Your mother left something in you, sir.
Yeah.
He's a minister.
I'm just up here. I'm like, I had something to say. I had to write it down. I'm eating my nuts and my raisins.
I call myself a street disciple because I just have been in the streets, lived in different places in Inglewood, in Philadelphia, Baltimore, lived in different cities, different states. And so I know what's going on. I've been on both sides. I always say I'm from the street to the boardroom. Mm-hmm. I'm from the hood to Hollywood.
Me too.
From oodles and noodles to caviar.
Absolutely.
There you go.
And you have to be there. And you have to be that because I want to reach them young entrepreneur brothers that are on the corner with their pants hanging down.
Right.
I want to reach those brothers that are out there, that are having babies and early on and, selling drugs because they think that there's no other resource or court for them. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. I was with them. I had an organization of 350 people. By the time I was 15, I was a multimillionaire, being on my own since I was 12 years old. And not because I had to be, because my lifestyle and I was doing outside of what my parents wanted, and I didn't want to bring the drama to their door. You know what I'm saying? So, so like my wife, we want to help men, we want to help women, we want to help people be better. We want to help, our African American brothers and sisters in any way possible to help them win. Yes. You know what I mean? I want them to win. I want our brothers to win, our sisters to win. Absolutely. I want to help these people that are incarcerated, coming home from jail, who don't have a vision and a purpose and a direction or a plan. When I had been in prison before, but I've also got my college degree. You understand what I'm saying? And you can win in spite of what it looks like. In spite of, you can't go forward looking in the rearview mirror.
Because you gotta catch the men because you were your teens and 20s when when
I was living that life.
When he was living that life in his teens and his 20s, and then it's been, so you could be a good example for them because what you did in your teens or your early 20s, doesn't make you, you know, a mistake that you make and you got to pay for it for a year or two or what have you, or 6 months, whatever. It doesn't mean that that's going to be who you are and that's what your future is going to be. And that's what people have to understand. No matter what you've been through and what you've done in your past, that's your past. And God doesn't allow anything to happen, right? Everyone has a past, absolutely. And it doesn't mean whatever happened in your past is going to dictate your future and who you are. You know, because if I'm listening to somebody, I want to listen to someone who is flawed. I want to listen to someone who's been through something. Like, you can't sit up here and be perfect and then tell someone else how to do this and that. I don't, even if I go to you know, well, any pastor, not my pastor, but say for instance, if I go visit a pastor, or I've been to a church, or I heard somebody speak, if they're sitting up there telling you what you need to do and they've never been through anything, then I'm looking at that. Or they're saying, you know, because I need to see that, you know, although, you know, you have the education, you can have the certifications, the background, I also need it coupled with, you know, what's happening with you, or what happened with you, that transparency and authenticity. You know, and the first time I even heard about, you know, Darryl's life in his past life, because I remember we were talking one day, I was like, 12 years old, you had an apartment at 13? Like, what? You know, by yourself? And even when I'm talking about different shows growing up, because we grew up differently. So I can be talking about a different world or some shows growing up. And it's like, I always say, it's like, because he was doing his thing and he was on the street. It's like, who's going to get, I'm going to get you, sucker. You know what? He was so far behind the time, not because he was in jail or anything like that, but because he was so consumed in the, you know, in the street, while we're 12 and 13 and 14 years old, we're hanging out with our friends. We going to the mall. We might be doing this or that. Right. Playing jacks, right. Double dutch out, doing all of that. He's been a grown man at 12 and 13 years old. So I'll be like, did you see such and such a show? And he'd be like, no, what's that? And I'm like, you don't know the show? Like, all the kids our age know this show, but not him, because he was on at 12 and 13 years old getting money on the street, you know, and not because, like he said, he had to, his mom was there, but his mom was church. So you have that base and that foundation there. But then, of course, you can't be doing what you want to do in the house of the Lord. That ain't going to work.
That's right. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We got to bring all of you guys back on. You know, all of y'all that you have dealt with and conquered. You know what I mean? You all definitely inspire me. I wanted to say, let me see. So, okay. We're getting ready to close out soon, but I wanted to give everybody a chance to, you know, talk about what they do and plug things that they got going on. But before we do that, I just wanted to quick question. Do you think is I'm gonna get everybody's perspective on this too. Say to any of our young people who are looking to get married, you know, at any age, you know, 20s, 30s, 40s, you know, what would you say to someone who is single? You know, they may have children, they got a divorce, they really want to be with someone, but they may be afraid to step out because of, you know, past relationships, things that they've dealt with. So what would you say to encourage them to be positive and try to and you know, be positive and trust God in where He's taken them in their journey in life?
Sometimes
I'm going to go ahead
real quickly.
Go ahead, Ms. Joy. Go ahead.
I would say to anybody who's thinking about getting married, please do not marry that man or woman because they cheated and then they've come back to you. Please don't marry that person for that reason.
Woo! That's a good one.
That's a real good one.
That's a ministry, a word right there. Somebody like,
that's dropping the mic right
like
there.
somebody's you know, somebody's thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
But I would say, like I said in the beginning, definitely work on yourself. It's so important to do your self-work. Even my latest book, and we'll talk about that, I guess, at the end. But it's so important to work on yourself, whether it be coaching, counseling, therapy, whatever it is that can make you, meditation, more prayer, whatever it is that can make you a whole and happy person. And you have to be, all those things act as crazy glue. Y'all remember crazy glue when it's just filling the cracks. You're filling the cracks, or if it's putty. fill in the cracks. And then that way, when you're ready and you're prepared and the dinger goes off, ding, you're cooked, you're done. That's when God is going to bring that person. And I would say, don't focus on trying to get that husband or wife. Focus on trying to live right and be the best person you can be for God and yourself. Work on that first, get that solid. And then that man or woman is going to come into your life. But don't allow that to be the focus. Be the focus. Handle your business, ladies. Get your work done. Work on your career. Work on yourself. Go back to school. Do what you got to do so you can be the best person, because you don't need that man right there to, sometimes that man will hinder you from going to get that degree, going to get the job you want in that state you want because you want to stay there just in case. Work on yourself, and then that person that's supposed to be for you will be there waiting for you. It's no such thing that he missed you. He didn't miss you.
Right.
He's there, but you weren't ready yet. So prepare yourself and get ready. What you say?
I mean, that was good. I ain't nothing else to say after that right there. That was good. Like I said, just really, like my wife said, just really be mindful. Don't be anxious. And I agree with Miss Joyce. If you're with somebody who's cheated on you, that should be a wrap. That's just my personal opinion. It should be a wrap, because whatever that person is doing now, he or she will go over when you're married. A piece of paper and the fact that you're legally bound will not change the habits that they are practicing. If they hide their cell phone and you can't look in their cell phone, and they taking their cell phone to the bathroom and under the pillow and all that, you already got the flags. You already know. Don't be slow on purpose. Don't be slow on purpose. You know what I mean? Get with somebody that's going to respect you, that's going to honor you, and has a plan for you both, and can tell you, or at least give you an idea of what their goals are going forward. Because no plan, no purpose, that's what it's going to be. If you don't have a plan and what your purpose is, you're just going to be a leaf blown in the wind.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be a leaf blown in the wind.
Absolutely. So before we go, I want everybody to plug everything that they got going on, talk about what you have going on. We're going to start with Miss Joyce.
Okay, real quickly. I am a community activist, really, really active, Pennsylvania Avenue, all in that area. I am working full-time. I have a platform, Conversations with Joy B, every other Tuesday. And yesterday, I just had a show. We talked about the N-word. I will graduate in September with my master's degree.
Yes.
My best friend, he thinks that I'm going to get a PhD, but I'm going to chill on that one for a while. We'll see what happens though. But I am absolutely loving life, dating myself right now.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, Miss Joyce. You look beautiful too. Absolutely radiant. Darryl and Kendell, talk about what you guys got going on before we get out of here.
So I have a show called The Mandate coming on Monday, May 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be real men, real issues, real transparency, real resolve, on IG Live. And also, even though it is a show for men, I would like for the women to chime in and be a part. Because there is no us without you. And if you want to know and learn your man, or learn your young boys, or learn your fiance, or learn your husband a bit more, we're not going to hold nothing back on this show. I'm not going to hold anything back, nor the people that I have slated to come on are going to hold anything back as well. If anybody's looking for jobs, job opportunities, job training, resume writing, classes, CNA, GNA, you can go to REIGN, REIGN, Ultimate ULTIMATTE solutionsnetwork.com. And also, I have a nonprofit that I'm the co-founder of, along with a friend of mine named Lawrence Sanders, where it's called Outcast Food Network. You can go to outcastfoodnetwork.org. We feed 1,000 people in the Baltimore City area every month. Every Tuesday, we give out fresh food and fruit and vegetables and things at 2620 Quantico Avenue, around between 11 and 12. So we give out tons of food and fresh fruit and vegetables and all that kinds of stuff. So definitely come out and be a part of that. And also, real quick, look out for the book. My autobiography is coming out in 2022. It'll be From Pain. Out of pain comes great purpose.
I know.
Yeah.
I love it. I
All
love
All
it.
right. All right. So that was a lot. All right. So, of course, I'm Kendell. I go by the name of Lady Motivator and the Remix Coach. I'm a transformational life coach and speaker. I've been doing that for 20 years as well as an author. I'm available for speaking engagements all across the globe. Now we're doing it virtual panels, all of that good stuff. I'm also a certified meditation practitioner, and because of what everyone is going through right now, I'm offering free virtual classes for meditation. And yes, Black people meditate. You can meditate and you can pray.
Yes.
Okay, and that's the thing. Also, I have a YouTube channel. Check that out. It's great content. Kendell Anise on all social media platforms across the board. Facebook, TikTok. Shout out to TikTok. They're over here asking so many questions. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, everything. But also I have several books on Amazon.com. My latest, I'm so proud of this book. It's My Personal Journey of Peace, a 30-day guided journal. So it's 180 pages. I wish I had it right here. It's thick. It's a big workbook. And what it is, it's for anybody that wants to discover or rediscover their peace or claim or reclaim their peace in this chaotic world. It's definitely practical. You can write in it. I challenge you because remember, I keep talking about doing the self-work. So this will give you an opportunity to give you the self-work. Now, if you're a perfect person who is already grown and you don't continue to grow anymore, then this is not for you. But if you want to stay on that journey to keep your peace, even if chaos is going on around you, it is different ways, from removing the toxic people to laughing more to dating yourself, having a self-date. And what I do is I define what I'm talking about. And then I show you in every chapter, each day, I show you the health benefits. Because there are health benefits to laughing. There are health benefits to removing toxic people from your life. There are health benefits to being okay with who you are. There are health benefits to everything. So I break it down. And then some of the questions are fun. Some of them are challenging. Some of them will make you introspective about yourself. And the beautiful thing about this journal is it comes with a free virtual workshop as well. So the price of the book on Amazon.com, it comes with a free workshop. Now, you don't have to do them simultaneously, but you do have that option. And then also the Best Gift Ever, Guide to Loving You, Learning How to Live Your Best Life. That's available on Amazon.com. And also Grow, Glow, and Grace, a guide to being better, wiser, and more fulfilled. All of those are available on Amazon.com. So I look forward to, working with my husband. We have been doing this for years. So like you said, John, we do it separately and we do it together. We want to really just show what real relationships look like. So if anybody's interested in us being on your show, we're glad to do it. We'll answer any questions, and we are very transparent because that's how people heal and grow. And Friday, we have the opportunity to be on Fox Soul Network. So we're going to be on Dr. Sean's show on Fox Soul this Friday, the Book of Sean, his love series. So we will be on a national platform there, and this is national too. But we look at this podcast as the same as that because it's about being authentic and telling our story. And that will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, May 7th.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate all of you for being on. I definitely have to have you on again. My sister Van, so happy, had to run off for a second, but I want to thank her as well. She also has an absolutely wonderful story. I'm going to have to bring her on the show by herself one day because she's married and her husband is incarcerated. She has a wonderful, absolutely amazing story that I want her to be able to get out on every platform that she can. So I thank you guys for coming on. Miss Joyce, I love you. I appreciate you so much. Girl, thank you guys so much. I will be staying in touch with you all.
I gotta have you on my show, bro.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. We got to stay in touch. I love networking with brothers and sisters. So we definitely got to hook up.
And we have to get you and Shalanda because we do a lot of things with couples and panels and stuff. So we're definitely going to have you, and Miss Joyce too. You have a lot of wisdom too, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. All right, guys. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I'll see you next time.
Be blessed,
All right.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Absolutely. Be safe, guys.
Thank you.